Comes to the employment picture, the way we work is changing. Technology is influencing the kinds of jobs available, not to mention how and where we can work. And it comes at a unique time in this country with an immigration surge influencing the labor market. Our next guest has been studying the trends. Nazareth is the author of Working It Out, Getting Ready for the Redesigned World of Work. And speaking of work, longtime viewers will recall Linda was one of the original on-air team members at BNN, helping to break down the economy. It's so nice to see you, Linda.
Nice
Thanks
to
for
see you
coming
too, John.
You always brought really interesting context on the numbers, but when did you start thinking about how the workforce itself was changing with all these different factors?
You know what? That was always my big interest, like demographics and the big trends, the big pictures. So kind of in my post-BNN life, I speak to organizations and conferences about how they should plan for the next thing, and it's all about work.
And it's funny because we sit here, we had the jobs report today, and that is the short term. But then there are these big longer term questions, artificial intelligence, how technology changes, as I mentioned, not just what jobs are available, but how we're working. What should we be thinking about? You know,
I would say this perfect storm of things going on, right? We have, as you say, the tech part of it, AI, which may change all our jobs. I'm not saying somebody could be in the anchor chair, but, you know, robots can do a lot of things, right? Yeah. It will certainly maybe take away some jobs, maybe add some. We have demographics, which is giving us this older population. In Canada, we have a really quickly growing population. We have climate issues, which are going to impact how we work, you know, where we work, the footprint of that. So there's a lot of things coming together at the same time, and we're trying to figure this out in an economic context.
Does that mean that maybe we have to reassess how we measure how we work? Because, you know, we have all these numbers that we use to give us a really good sense of where the economy is, where it's going. Is it time to rethink that as well?
Well, that's a good question, because those are just numbers, right? It helps us in terms of looking at inflation, what the Bank of Canada should do. But if you want to see, you know, what people are experiencing, just counting up numbers of people working isn't really giving you the big picture. We're looking, I think, at an economy where a lot of people will be working multiple jobs, which is good and bad. They'll have a lot of gigs. They'll work on projects as opposed to being full-time. They'll come in and out of the labor force. Their compensation is going to be all over the place. So you have, you know, maybe wage growth of 4%, but it's somebody getting nothing and somebody getting 8%. So I think we have to look way beyond the macro numbers.
How do you think the pandemic itself, in some ways, maybe a test run for a hybrid or work from home, did it speed up the process of having this conversation?
It did, but it was such a terrible test, right? It was just like, go home and make this work. So, of course, managers didn't know how to manage it. People didn't know how to make it work, because a lot of people liked it, didn't have to commute anymore. And now we have this kind of knee-jerk reaction with companies saying, come back 2 days a week, or you have to come back more days. We don't want to make it as remote as it was. It's not at all a model that will stick. I think, John, we're going to see back and forth for several years before we get to not even one model, but lots of models that work. And we're going to have to retrain managers.
So a lot of retraining, maybe retooling. One of the big things, you talked about it for years, and we're still talking about today, is the productivity in this country. And there's a general view that we're lagging there. And when you talk about sort of a changing workforce, I am curious, how should we think about that? I mean, do people need to measure their own productivity if they're spending a little bit more time alone or working these different jobs as opposed to being part of a workforce full-time for your career?
Yeah, I mean, you measure it by what the economy is producing, right? The GDP numbers, ultimately, the income numbers, and hopefully we see those go higher. We need a lot of investment in a lot of things. We need a lot less red tape in a lot of things. But you know what? I think we need to invest in softer skills too, which are also hard to measure. They're not a productivity figure. But if you look at what the World Economic Forum and other groups are saying are going to take countries to the next step, it's empathy, it's flexibility, it's things that are not that easy to measure when you're just looking at somebody's CV.
So you talk about a lot of these themes in your book. I mean, for people who are trying to figure out where the world's going, how they fit into it, you talked about even how people are going to have to go through training, including managers. I mean, what are things to think about? What are resources that you can look towards, or at least just even mentally prepare yourself?
I think we have to get rid of some of our old norms. I mean, we think about going to school and, okay, I got my degree when I was 22 from this great school. That may be really irrelevant. I mean, we're talking about a lot of companies saying that doesn't matter. We just want to see what you can do, which means rethinking what we valued. We have to think about continuous training. I think in whatever job you're in, you have to think about being flexible and getting to the next thing, or redoing your job. And I think you even have to be flexible, not just with your coworkers, but whether with your new coworkers who may be automated, and be okay with that.
So you're diving into things that, to your earlier point, like, do not come out of the monthly jobs reports. For all the research you've done, do you feel relatively optimistic about us navigating through this transition?
I do. I think it'll be trying for some organizations and for some people. But the fact that we're having these conversations now, I think, puts Canada and a lot of organizations in a good place. And I think we'll get through. We've gotten through other industrial revolutions. This one's just moving a little bit more quickly.
It's